Wait a second. I think somebody messed around with my cables. There was a kid in here. Recording. Testing 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Something is a little wrong. We have too much science going on. Let's see what's going on here. That's a guitar amp. Yeah, okay, fine. What in the world is going on? How am I supposed to do my music? Some kid's in here messing around with my stuff. Yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. Let's try that again. That's things off there too. Man alive. Well, there there we go. That should do it there. Hey people, I'm gonna just try this little song here again. Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Not much of a girlfriend. We never seem to get along. Take a jumbo across the water, like to see America. See the girls in California, hoping it's going to come true. But there's not a lot I can do. Could we have kippers for breakfast? Mommy dear, they got to have them in Texas, 'cause everyone's a millionaire. I'm a winner, I'm a sinner, do you want my autograph? I'm a loser, what a joker, I'm playing my jokes upon you. Well, there's nothing better to do. Don't you look at my girlfriend, she's the only one I got. Not much of a girlfriend, never seem to get along. Take a jumbo across the water, like to see America. See the girls in California, hoping it's going to come true. But there's not a lot I can do. Ba-da-da-da. There we go. Now we've started off the evening on demonetizing the stream and a broken sound thing. Would you look at my shovel? It can dig a lot of dirt. I always love that. I always love that line. Don't look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. So, I'm getting this thing here that says an error occurred. Did an error really occur? Can you guys still see me? Who sings the original? That's Supertramp. Thank you. My voice is a little bit better. Man. Well. So, I was working in the garden today. We just got started, Scott. I was just goofing around. I was working in the garden today because it was beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate it. Look, I was getting it. It says error, and I disappeared from the screen. So, cool. I was working in the garden today. I was going to plant some more Sudan sorghum grass, but I didn't get to. I planted beans today. More beans. You saw the video where I was planting the beans, the black beans and the black-eyed peas from the store. Oh, your daughter says I have a great singing voice. Well, thank you very much. I actually took lessons. You wouldn't know it from hearing some of the stuff that I sing. I always wanted to be a baritone, but somehow I ended up a tenor.
Probably didn't, I probably ate too much mayonnaise when I was younger. There's a lot of soy in mayonnaise. In my formative years, I ate a lot of mayonnaise.
So anyhow, I was looking around going, we got to fill in the gaps. Stuff is as things are coming out of the garden, new things have to go in. Y'all know I have a mulch shortage. I don't have enough biomass. I have very, very bad soil. Scott can vouch for my incredible soil. And I the next best thing to having the mulch on the ground is to have something growing on the ground. The cover, just having leaves, living growth, keeping the ground from being beat by the sun helps, especially when you have high rainfall, poor soil. It's like in the Amazon. You've got the Amazon. Everything is green and it's beautiful and it's thick and it's fantastic. And then you cut it down and you burn it and it doesn't look so good. It falls apart. So in my gardens, lacking organic matter, I really have to work with cover crops. I have to fill in the gaps, fill in the blanks. Hence the title of this evening's Goodstream. If you have a garden and it is not mulched, it's not covered, it's just bare soil, that's not ideal. Ideally, as soon as you pull out a main crop, you put in another crop, or you fill in the blank with something that is going to build biomass, build the soil, keep it alive. There's more going on than just what you see on the surface. See, when you're growing a cover crop, say you're growing a cover crop because you want a carbon mulch. That's why I'm growing the sorghum Sudan grass. I want a bunch of high carbon material, bunch of grass that I can lay on top of the ground and let it dry down and be a mulch that decomposes over time. I really want that mulch. But there are other things that are happening in the ground beneath the surface. So if I'm cutting it, there's also a lot of things that are going on with the roots beneath. If you cut the top of a plant, some of the roots will drop off and rot into the ground. And roots are constantly growing and dropping off hairs and growing and dropping off hairs and growing all through the ground. You could have a plant that's like this big, and it could have roots like this big. So you might be like, I'm going to chop this piece. Oh, that's a little bit of mulch right there. Yeah, but there's all these little channels of roots beneath the ground. All of that humus going down beneath the ground. There's a reason that the prairies of North America were so rich with topsoil. A lot of those prairie grasses are incredible. They have incredible root systems. We're talking root systems that can withstand major droughts for a long period of time, fires, trampling by buffalo, and roots that are going 8 feet deep or more into the ground. If that gets killed on the surface, there are still channels of humus that will form all those little tunnels that are packed with woody material from the roots. And that is adding humus to the soil. There is composting going on beneath the surface that you can't see. One of my neighbors told me that for a period of time, they would regularly plant cover crops. They said they had a deer plot because they were trying to get deer to show up in their backyard and graze. So they would grow for the deer in the backyard. They would take the tractor out there and they would do the normal peas and oats and triple 13 thing that a lot of people do around here. Sometimes you put some like mustards or something else in there too, but turnips. But the peas and oats are a real common combination. So they said we did that. They said soil's real bad back there, but we did that multiple years. Multiple years. And he said, you know, that soil started to get dark out there. Like I noticed when we tilled that thing up, that soil was good. And it never was good. It was always bad back there. Like, we tried to make gardens in it and stuff, and it was bad. But they said we did that for, like, multiple years, and we'd till it. You know, we'd till it under, we'd plant it again. He says, where we planted that cover crop, it got rich. Oh, man, I would kill for some vetiver grass. I wouldn't kill for it. I would love vetiver again. That is a great suggestion, Drew. I don't have vetiver. I had it down in the tropics. It's amazing, and it smells great. I would love that. Carolyn says I should send you some mimosa seeds. Now, which mimosa is it? The ground cover or the tree? Kill. I would kill for vetiver. I just can't forget her. I just can't forgive her. I just won't ever get over her. I would do anything she asked me to. I would kill for vetiver. You know her roots go deep. You know her blades are sharp. You know she grows really great when you plant her over a rotting carp. I would kill for vetiver. Yes, I would kill. And it stops the erosion on a hill. The vetiver for which I would kill. Okay, that's pretty dumb. Mimosa pudica is nice. There's a thorny variety down in Grenada, man. That stuff had thorns all over it. It was horrible. Carolyn says the tree with the pink flowers. See, that's one of them. I should be able to get seeds for those soon because they're growing all over my neighborhood too. But thank you. Mimosa pudica is a creeping ground cover. Sometimes they call it sensitive plant. That's another one. Your daughter's die. Don't die. I can't forget of her. I would kill for vetiver. I think it's pretty bad. Anyhow, if you have gaps, there's another thing that happens. And that is, it's going to be a dramatic pause. There's another thing that happens. What happens? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a thing that happens. Okay, that's enough. Sunlight is striking the top of the plants that you plant, your cover crop, your vegetables, your trees, whatever, weeds. It's collecting sunlight. It's turning it into sugars. It's powering itself with sugars. Cellulose is what plants are made from. And cellulose is a complex sugar. But there are simple sugars that are exuded from the roots of plants into the soil. The sugars go down to the roots grow, they leak sugars into the soil. And what that causes is an explosion of bacterial growth as well as fungal growth in the soil, because the plants are creating food and putting it down into the ground to feed the ecosystem. Plants are supply lines transforming solar energy into sugar, which is being added to the soil and feeding the microbial life of the soil. And in turn, that microbial life is then feeding worms. That microbial life is feeding various insects. It's feeding nematodes. There's all kinds of nematodes. Not all nematodes are bad nematodes. There's a lot of good nematodes. There's a ton of life going on in the soil that is not there when you take away those sugar sources. You've taken away the feed, so they leave. Why aren't there a bunch of worms in bare ground? They don't like it. There's not much food for them. I'm having worms show up in my garden now. When I first dug, we didn't see any worms. But I dug up some old rotten material from a neighbor's yard, and it had some worms in it, and I scattered that through the beds. And then I've been dropping, I chop up a rotten cabbage. If I don't feed it to the chickens, I feed it to my garden beds. Throw it down there. So, you have a gap. That area is getting deader. Water is washing the nutrients through. Compost is rotting away in it. The humus is disappearing. There's no active life. Moody. Oh my gosh, love cat. The high root exudate milkshake brings the soil food web to the yard. My gosh. My gosh. Discovering Love Cat, I think, has made the last year worthwhile. Anyhow, my gosh. My root exudate milkshake brings the soil food web to the yard. Okay. So you've got a couple of things going on there. If you are chopping and dropping repeatedly, you're getting the carbon material from on top falling down, and it's rotting in. It's feeding the worms, etc. Hopefully that stuff is growing back, and you've got the roots down beneath, and they're slowing off, dropping off into the soil when you cut, and there's all this stuff that's happening. When you have blank soil, that stuff's not happening. You're missing opportunities. You are missing easy ways to improve the soil. My root exudate milkshake. My gosh. Sorry, that's fantastic. Anytime you've got a gap, fill it in. Fill in the blanks. Now, it doesn't matter that much if you fill in the blanks with a crop or you fill in the blanks with sprouting beans. It's funny, there's, even when I visited the experimental farms for University of Florida up in the Citra area, they were planting grass in between in between crops of different things. They had grass. They would replant grass, and the plots would stay in grass. And then, of course, they would nuke the grass with glyphosate and till it under. But that's not what I recommend. But for the period of time that it was out of circulation, the grass maintains the ecosystem and keeps it alive. If you just keep tilling bare soil or keeping it bare, it gets worse. It gets dead. So, yeah, just finish watching the president speak. I pay absolutely no attention anymore. I'm glad somebody's paying attention, I guess. But the ease of just going, hey, there's an opening. Throw a couple seeds on it. In the winter, you've got that ryegrass that you can use if you're in a mild climate. If you're a little further north, you can. There's some winter wheat that you can grow. There are, sometimes things just completely freeze over. It depends on how far north you get. But if any time a bed is out of circulation, like in the south, Florida, Alabama, when you get to June, July, it starts to get hot. And sometimes stuff just does not want to grow. And at that point, you've got to go, okay, it's time to throw my southern peas down, because southern peas will just sail right through, and they fix a lot of nitrogen. So not only do they have the benefit of pumping in those sugars to the soil, they actually have colonies living on the roots that are making nitrogen, improving the soil beyond just keeping the ecosystem alive, adding a little bit of mulch to the surface, adding a little bit of compost. You're also getting the benefit of extra nitrogen being added to the soil, which is why commercial farmers cycle through often a soybean and corn cycle. They grow corn, the corn's out, they grow soybeans. Because they grew soybeans, they don't have to add as much nitrogen to the soil. So, makes sense. And you can get a crop in between, which is nice. I find that I enjoy gardening much more when I don't have great big plans and schedules on how I'm going to garden. I go, hey, you know what? We got a little bit of time. I think I'm going to go out and do a little gardening. I think I'm going to harvest a few cabbages. Want some cabbages? Here's some cabbages. I'm not like, I'm on time. Oh my gosh, I got to harvest every single cabbage today. We harvested cabbages for 2 or 3 months before the cabbages started to look really sad. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull the rest of them today. And we're going to make a big batch of sauerkraut and some other stuff. So, I see a gap in the garden. I walk around with packets of seeds in my pockets. Wait, look at this. Is ridiculous. Okay. Right here on my desk right now. The kids have been saving cherry pits and peach pits for me. These will all get stuck in some soil and stuck in the fridge. And eventually I will get around to planting them in whatever gaps I find in the yard. When they sprout, they just go somewhere. Okay, look at this right here. Tomato seeds. Somebody else saved some tomato seeds for me. I have no idea why this is on my desk. The kids just save stuff and they just leave it around for me. I have some potatoes that are way too old over there. Over there I've got a stack of, what do I got? Burgundy okra. Somebody brought me a bag of it and said, y'all like okra? Here's enough to plant an acre. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So, crazy. Did I ever get political? In person, maybe. On YouTube, no. No, I believe that all the nations are a drop in the bucket and that God will come in judgment and smash them all one day. So any particular nation at any particular time, I'd rather be gardening. I don't really want to get into it that much. I take the really long view. But no, I don't really get into politics, and it's not fun. Gardening is way more fun. I think we've got so much junk on the radio and so much stuff that will just make us upset. That to focus on something that's worthwhile and beautiful and good, like gardening, is wholesome. And you really can't do anything about the politics anyways. evil, sick, bizarre, demented people have always been in positions of power because they seek them out. And I don't think that there's much chance that we're going to fix that. I don't think we'll ever fix it. So lead a quiet life, work with your hands as much as possible, and get out in the garden and enjoy it. So, I like to just walk around those garden beds. And my gardens don't look like other people's gardens, right? Yes, I did do some single rows when I first got started. I'm going to drag some single rows out there. But I'll tell you, those grocery row gardens, those 4-foot wide beds, packed with like every kind of bizarre perennial, berries, and I planted an apricot out there and gooseberries and things that I don't even know if they're going to grow here. I've got cassava out there. I got cassava growing in the same bed with hazelnuts. Both of those are marginal. I went a zone north and a zone south in the same bed just to see what happens. And then in between those, I got tomatillos. I've got strawberries. And today, one of my sons and I, we went and we planted bush beans scattered in between all the empty spots. And in some of the other empty spots, I cut some sweet potato vines and I stuck sweet potatoes in all over the place. So, I like that. I like that feeling that you almost have a complete forest ecosystem with the layers of a forest. From these, I've got things that are taller than my head down to creeping ground covers in a strip that's controllable. It's so much fun. It's like every time there's a gap, you just stick something new there. There's never a point where that ground will be completely bare or empty. There will always be life in it. There will always be roots in the ground because there's a mixture of annuals and perennials. The annuals are going to change from season to season, and but the perennials are going to be there. It's going to be really, really cool. Food forest row gardening. That's what it is. That's why I call it grocery row gardening. It's inspired by Ernst Goetz and Stefan Sapkowiak and the people growing edible hedges. I've mixed it all up. So anyhow, what I wanted to say tonight was just, if you've got a gap, fill it. You got an empty bed? You just pulled out some stuff? Go out there, get a bag of southern peas, and fill in the gaps. If you're in a cooler climate, throw some buckwheat out there. Buckwheat's great. Attracts the butterflies, makes a lot of biomass, grows really fast. I love buckwheat. If you got a nice hot climate, you plant some of that sorghum Sudan grass. So, have any of you guys grown the sorghum Sudan grass? This is my first year. I know a lot of people told me stuff like, hey, you're planting them too far away. I'm planting them according to what I read in a one of the agricultural websites, like a extension website or something. So yeah, I'm going to answer some questions here. We're back up a little bit. Daniel says, is corn the best grain for gardening? I think it's usually the best for homesteaders. Yes, it's easy to grow, easy to harvest. Grow flint corns if you're further north. Grow dent corns if you're further south, usually. No, southern beans are not the big white beans. Those are lima beans, or there's sometimes navy beans. Usually lima beans if you're talking big white beans. The southern beans are like black-eyed peas, Crowder peas, zipper peas, Clyde peas. All them little plates. They're all vignas. They're all vigna peas. They're a little bit different. They're not a phaseolus. They're so good. Southern peas for South Florida, definitely. All year round you can grow them there. They are not GMO. Not that I've ever heard of. I'll be very disappointed if I find out that black-eyed peas are now GMOs, but I don't think so. They're so stinking easy to grow. Have I made any sauerkraut with the cabbage I harvested? Joshua says. No, my wife did, though. She's got a great big, like a 2-gallon vat of it on the counter right now. Maybe 3. Hey, Joe, nice to see you. Labeling things is no fun. Sunny Days and Sandy Toad says, I gave up on labels and I don't know whether it's cucumber or squash or the... Wow. I'll figure out when they produce something. Yeah, I did that with tomatoes this year. Actually, I did label them, and then the labels got all mixed up. I have a 1.5-year-old. 1.5-year-olds love to play with labels or take labels out, and so I have no idea. Well, you know what? I'm just going to plant all these tomatoes, and we'll see what we get. So I've got, like, Everglades mixed in with carbon, mixed in with some salad tomatoes we saved and other stuff. William says, looks like my desk in my room, seeds and pits everywhere. Like, every time I go out, I often come back with, like, something. It's funny. I mean, you could just take a pair of my cargo shorts and bury them in the garden, and you'd probably grow like a forest out of them, because I'm always like sticking tree seeds and weird fruits and stuff and sticking them in the pockets when I'm out walking. I already look like a dictator. Thank you. That's the sweetest thing anybody's ever said to me. I need to grow some big cigars. Deb says, will okra be okay with top sprinkler watering, or is bottom drop line tape better way to water okra? I like top sprinkler watering for everything. I find it the easiest to manage, the easiest to apply and to be able to move around and change. You know, I really just can't stand drip lines. They're always jamming up or getting chewed up or whatever. Let's see. I'm trying to catch some of these here. You know, an okra doesn't really need that much water, Deb. It's easy. Am I gonna make sorghum syrup? Nah, probably not. I don't know that you can make. I don't know if you can make syrup from this sorghum Sudan. It's not grown for syrup. It's a cross. I don't know if it's sweet enough. If somebody knows, let me know. Tessa says, David, nearby we have a pond that's low enough to reveal delicious looking black muck. Would this be good to add to the garden, or should I get it tested first? If you have a healthy frog population in the pond, I would use the muck. If you don't see any frogs in the pond, I would not. Frogs are your indicator species for wetlands. If the frogs are healthy, it's probably fine. So I would totally use it if I see frogs. If I don't see frogs, I would think there might be something wrong with that. Something toxic in there. Ray87 says, I grew Mennonite sorghum. Yeah, it's pretty stuff. Ever grow Yukon? Yes, I have some in the garden right now, actually. I haven't grown it in years, so I'm glad to have it again. It's kind of cool. It's a very delicious root. Fadista says, I've been vegetable gardening for a year, and I am moving into the food forest concept. It's exciting, especially every time I bring in a new species. Yeah, I love it too. It allows you to observe and tweak and watch things grow and create an ecosystem that's going to be bigger than you are and last longer. I love it. It's the most exciting form of gardening, I think, long-term perennial. Northern Tide Garden Guy says, David, what did you find worked best in the tropics for annuals and perennials? Annuals, hot peppers did really well. The carbon tomato was the best of our tomatoes. The local grain corns did very well. Pigeon peas worked really, really well. They weren't always a annual. They were sometimes kept for a couple of years. Mung beans grew very, very well. I understand why those are grown all over the place. The yard-long beans grew very well. Okra grew very well. For perennials, mangoes were really super easy, but my standbys were yams, bananas, plantains, cassava, breadfruit. Yeah, Scott, you know, those southern peas just have a good flavor. Southern peas are pleasant. They have a good flavor. They're almost a meaty flavor. It's a Crying Shame says, have you ever grown dragon tail radish pods? Very little info on them, and I didn't know a radish could ever make a pod that big. I have some. My kids said they look like an abomination. We have not planted them this year. I'm going to plant them probably in the fall if I can remember. Have I ever tried heritage grains like einkorn? No, I have not. I like the idea. William says, have you ever eaten black-eyed peas fresh like a green bean? If so, how was the flavor? I have cooked them as a green bean, like cooked the peas, shelled them and eaten them green, and they were very good. I have not eaten them raw. Nino says, I have planted sorghum as a shade for the tomato greenhouse. That's a great idea. Takarp says, making my kids 3 and 5 watch along with me. If you want to thrill them, you could say hi. Well, hi, Nell. Hi, Nell. Go get a good night's sleep. But I'm glad you guys are here. God bless you both. I hope you're both gardening. Boyd says there's a video on Saddam's sorghum grass by Haas Tools. I'll have to check that out. Thank you. Joshua says, any tips on growing pineapples? Yes. Don't overwater them. They like a weak compost tea solution. If you just mulch around them, don't give them tons of water, but mulch around them and plant them in a place where the soil does not get too wet. That's very important. And keep them fed with weak compost tea solutions. They love it. They will produce well for you, and they produce year after year once they get big enough. Tips for big, juicy carrots. Long, cool season, plenty of water, and fertile, loose soil. We also found that they tasted way better when we used Steve Solomon's micronutrients mix. They were the best tasting carrots we ever had. Sean says, the prettiest thing about Mennonite molasses is the pretty Mennonite women growing it. Yeah, there's nothing like those. I mean, they make their own dresses. We have some Mennonites here, and the men are great guys, trustworthy guys. The women are solid, hardworking, and beautiful. I mean, they're not always beautiful in face, just like anybody, but they carry themselves like they're beautiful, and they seem to raise good families, take care of their kids, and they have a high level of craftsmanship that I really appreciate. They're very sweet people. Sometimes I think they probably have it right. Alan says, David, what would make the list of your top 10 plants? That's a lot of plants. I don't know. I mean, that's probably yams 10 times with a pumpkin at 11. I have cane toads. Prefer not to make lethal lasagna gardens. Well, cane toads are not a big deal. Cane toads hunt the pests. You know, you got them, you got them. Hannah says, I found a wild gooseberry today on my hike. I dug it up, and now it's in a pot in the porch. Hannah, you are my kind of gardener. Good work. That's fantastic. It's a late night plant party. Hey, Eric, it wasn't a party until you showed up, man. Let's see. Well, thank you, Deb. I appreciate it. Jay Appleseed, I'm going to guess that's James Appleseed? I grew sorghum Sudan last year in central Alabama. I cut midsummer to about 6 to 8 inches and let it regrow. Huge amount of biomass. Oh, good. That's what I want to hear. I also used some of the dried clippings as oyster mushroom substrate. Oh, that's fantastic. Daniel says I should dump part of every seed I have in a bucket and spread it across a plot and see what happens. I have done that in the past. I should do it again because I did it when I didn't have YouTube, and we had all kinds of crazy stuff coming up. It's fun. It's a great idea. How do I feel about GMOs? I think they're an abomination and should be illegal. and shouldn't be done. Thank you. Sunny Days and Sandy Toes sends a super chat. Good night. Thank you very much. I appreciate the gardening tips. I give gardening tips for tips. But thank you. Have a great night. And a good weekend. If you had a virus infecting potatoes, is it just time to pull them out? Someone was asking me, and I have no clue, Scott says. You know, that's a good question. Usually I try to destroy virus-infected plants as soon as possible because it's not worth waiting to harvest if there's a potential for that virus to spread to other stuff. I would take it out and I would just burn it. You know, if I know it's a virus, that thing is coming out and it's getting burned. I don't want it to spread, you know, later on. Thank you, Tessa, for the super chat. Thank you for always being so helpful and inspiring. I'm gonna blush. Oh, thank you. Tessa also asked, can you treat fill in the spot beans as a chop and drop, or should you wait until it grows out and then cut it down the one time? You know, the best time to cut them out is when they're just starting to make beans. You cut them down, they add the most amount of nitrogen to the ground because they've gathered a lot of nitrogen. They feel like they have enough nitrogen to make beans. If you want to cut them as they're just starting to make little beans and blooming. But even if you don't, you're still going to get nitrogen from them. Enjoy Being says, Oka or New Zealand yam, did you call them edible oxalis or is that something else? Oka is an edible oxalis with a tuberous root. I have not grown it before. I would like to grow it at some point. I think it would be fun to try. The yams that I grow are Dioscorea species. Jesus says that my potatoes I dug have little craters on them from ants. Maybe can I just cut it off and eat them? Yes, definitely. We get those things all the time. Little scabs, little bites in the soil, little rotten spots. They all get cut off and then we eat them. Good job, Tim. Tim has over a dozen pineapples fruiting. That's awesome. I don't know anything about Lazy Dog Farms, Daniel. I haven't heard of them. Their skin is always flawless and they're... Okay, that's enough, Mennonite girls. That's enough about Mennonite girls. She was a Mennonite girl. Scott says this is one of the benefits of Steve's mix. He touts the better flavor of all vegetables with proper mineralization. Yes, I agree. That's right. And Scott says, just don't lick the cane toads. Don't lick the cane toads. I live in the South where there's a wide open sky. We got pickup trucks, we've got good old hound dogs and white country churches. We've got everything you need. Just don't lick the cane toads. Don't pick up any of our coral snakes. Just don't lick the cane toads. And you'll be fine living out here in the sticks. I think there's a good song in there. Just don't lick the cane toads. Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn sent me $10 for the mulch fund. Much appreciated. Okay, Lazy Dog Farms is Travis from Haas Tools' channel, the son. Okay, cool. I like the Haas Tools channel. Some fruit in the stores are GMOs, some are not. Many of them are not. Many of them are traditional varieties. Let's see here. Treasure Tree Reynolds says, I'm kind of new here. Love gardening. K for the song. Well, thank you. Don't let your tongue fall on a cane toad. Well. Just don't lick the cane toads. You know, it's real beautiful down here. We got a preacher in the church. He really knows. He'll bring you to tears. We got the most beautiful rhododendron festivals. We got a tractor pull. We even got some real good paved roads. Just don't lick them cane toads. Don't lick the cane toads. Thank you, Rex, for the super chat. Much appreciated. Mach7 says, best recommendation for Steve Solomon reading. Yes, Gardening When It Counts. I will put the link here. I will put my Amazon link here, and if you buy through the Amazon link, I get a slight commission, which means I take a little bit of money from Jeff Bezos, and how can you not be in favor of that? Instead of Jeff Bezos making all the money, I get a little bit of it. All right, let me see. Slow. Gardening When It Counts is the first book I read from Steve Solomon, and I just went, this guy. I mean, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, he has written a lot for that area, but it's not applicable to me, so I don't own those books. She thinks my tractor's sexy, right? And don't lick the cane toads. Sean says, don't judge me, David. I just know what I like. Ironically, the young lady I like is in a metal band, so count that as a hearty contradiction, I guess. Well, so long as she covers her head. No big deal. Don't be rude to the snood. Enjoy Being says, managed to get 2 pear seeds to germinate this week. Good work. You are a good gardener. Thank you, Deb. We just let the cane toad sit in the oleander tea for outsiders. That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, you gotta pin the head covering on. You gotta be modest about it, my gosh. Scott says, that book taught me that I should just compost animals. My crazy neighbor just shot some squirrels, and now I have them brewing away in the pile. That's the way to do it. Who's your favorite overlord? Tell you, I was rather fond of the Hunt brothers. David the Good is my favorite overlord. They never give power to the people that don't want it. Well, you're never too old for a pony ride. No, you're never too old for a pony ride. No, you're never too old for a pony ride. We're never too old for a pony ride. They're kinda like a horse, but they're smaller. A giraffe is like a pony, but his neck is taller. If you wanna ride, just give me a holler. All rides are $1. Dan says, I'm considering trying to do slow cooking in my compost pile. It's staying around 150. So long as it's sealed in very well, because I wouldn't want to cook my food with compost. Seal it in a bacteria-proof, locked stainless steel container. Scott says Google is good to me because they pay me to do videos. It's like pillaging the Egyptians. I know, somebody said, you got to get off YouTube. I said, well, where would I go? I had that experiment with unauthorized.tv and it didn't really work out. And at one point I had stuff backing up on a site called vid.me, and that's gone now, I think. And I mean, it's the only game in town. Many other people have said, I wish you wouldn't sell your books on Amazon. I won't buy anything from Amazon. I was like, well, if I didn't have Amazon, if I didn't have Amazon and Google, I wouldn't have any income. Except for the occasional freelance work, some ad work that I do, the occasional video sale, t-shirt sales, that kind of thing. The little dribs and drabs, yeah. Selling plants out of a plant nursery, when I get that running, that'd be a little bit. But, I mean, I'm an author. Where does an author go to sell books, if not Amazon? Where does a video producer go, if not YouTube? So many people have found me because of YouTube. People say, I found you because I saw such and such a video. They were just pillaging the Egyptians, man. Don't feed your pony a cane toad. Don't feed your pony a cane toad. Yeah, it's not the distribution that's the problem. The distribution is, you can put your videos on other platforms. It's just you won't get found. They could be out there. It's hard. Yeah, stand in the corner and scream books for sale. That would probably do well. Right, but BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, they're not going to pay me like YouTube does. That's a problem. And people don't find you on there. It's such a tiny market. It's like saying, well, I'm only going to sell my books, at booksforsale.tv. Yeah. People have found me on Facebook too. Yeah, but I can't stand Facebook. Facebook is beyond stupid. At least I was just exposed to so much stupidity on Facebook. I cannot stand it. Facebook. Okay. I don't know. I was going to say something about the IQ distribution curve, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Seshbu says, I discovered you on Audible. Yeah, and Audible's part of Amazon. YouTube has billions of viewers, bigger than any other platform, and YouTube is also basically the biggest search engine in the world. It's crazy. It's a problem. I think this stuff should have all gotten busted up into a bunch of little pieces. But hey, look, I got my silver play button. Thank you, YouTube. I appreciate everything you've done for us. Please don't take my channel away from me. You gave me a silver play button. It's made of solid stainless steel. But no, I'm not on IG or Facebook. I forgot how to log into IG, actually. Am I interested in newer platforms with shorter videos and all? Somebody said I got to get on. Somebody said I got to get on TikTok. I'm like, I'm not doing TikTok. TikTok will steal your soul. They want every bit of your data. And the other, I'm not on Instagram anymore because they were doing the same thing. It's difficult. I don't want to do it, Carolyn. I will not go back to Facebook. I am just so... Zuckerberg irritates me so much. It's terrible. Terrible. Tell us about that bell curve. My IQ puts me in the 1 in 1,000 range by distribution. So if I have to deal with people that are too much, that don't understand what I'm talking about, for too long. The nice thing about YouTube is it's kind of becomes a self-selecting community. We don't have a lot of we don't have a lot of dumb stuff going on in this channel because you guys are interested in the same kind of esoteric stuff I am. We've kind of created our own good gardening thing. But the distribution becomes very irritating when you have to deal with people doing things like, have you ever heard about composting? You know. Yeah, TikTok is run by the CCP, and Facebook is run by the CIA. Choose your poison. SBQR Cincinnati says, plant any pineapple guava in your area. No, I have not, but I think it would do well here. It's so pokey, though. I've planted it a couple times and never got fruit off it because it's so slow. There are the dumb puns and jokes. Yes, but my IQ is so high that when I do dumb things, it's actually super high IQ. Like when I can't find my keys, and when I can't remember to eat, and when I can't remember where my wallet is, or put same things in the same things, or when I'm in the middle of a conversation, I completely forget anything. It's because I'm a genius. That's what it is. Oh, CD Sour says, do you want to change how you do things on YouTube? Yes, I have. I'm doing it constantly. I'm trying to put out videos almost every single day because I said, you know what? If I'm going to have this big of a platform, I should just do it all the time. And Scott Head was very encouraging to me when he visited. And I said, you know what? I can push this harder. People seem to really enjoy the live streams. We show up. So those are high IQ sock puppets, Scott. Sorry, make me cough. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's your dumb puns and jokes. Those are high IQ, Dan. It's hilarious. I'm changing stuff all the time. Adam says, hey, Adam, it's nice to see you, man. How are your kids? Hope your kids are doing well. Adam grew some great pineapples. Adam says, hey, D to the G, I've got a few loquat saplings. Will they grow where I am, or are they too tropical? No, they grow here. There's some around the corner from me that fruited this year. I'm so psyched about it. I love loquats, and I mean we're on that edge. I'm sure it's gonna some winters they're not gonna fruit, but yeah. Oh, speaking of, are you gonna do anything different on YouTube? Yes. I just did a video on growing an herb garden in a pot for a patio. See? That'll get the normal people in, and then I'll get frustrated and I'll quit. No, it's Scott said I should do more stuff with things in pots. I can do stuff with things in pots. I planted a rat in a pot. You won't believe what happened next. No, I'm going to post that video probably this next week, and it's funny. It's like a how-to, right? How to grow a potted herbs in a pot. Like it's like a little garden of herbs, but it's in a pot. It's amazing. Like you could put it next to your little bicycle and your like little pet dog, one of those little fluffy worthless dogs. And you could look at it while you're drinking wine at night and thinking about your dead-end career in graphic design. It's perfect. It's like the sort of thing that's going to reach people, It's going to be really helpful to that person. There's a hole in my soul that can only be filled with a dollar store pot filled with herbs. And then redo it next year. Redo them all. People respond, I should. I have to do that, Scott. I was looking back at my top videos, and I'm like, one of my top videos is how to change the transmission fluid in a Dodge Ram 1500. Like, I should redo that one. No, I'm not going to do that. Tesa said, my daughter just started singing, I planted a rat in a pot. That's great. I planted a rat in a pot. You won't believe what I got. I planted loads and loads. After I licked those cane toads. Loads and loads of rats in little pots. You won't believe the fruit I got. When I planted lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of rats in pots. Every rat that's in a pot is another rat that's not in your pantry. I must say the advice on growing rats out of pots is rather scanty. But I planted lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of rats in pots. Where else would you grow potted herbs? On your patio. Oh my gosh. The sock is actually the ventriloquist making me speak. Oh man, that's awesome. Jeremy says, so I garden, listen to Portishead, and love spiced rum. I was asked if I like David the Good by someone who I told those things to. No way. Well, welcome aboard. My brother. Respect. Fist bump. Okay, so I got to answer this. SPQR Cincinnati says, are your live streams scheduled in advance? Is there some notification option? Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. You have a excellent profile picture, by the way. I don't usually schedule them much in advance. I'll put them up usually about a half an hour before I go live, sometimes less. If you do hit the bell, you will get a notification. There is a way to hit the bell. Go to my channel, hit the bell. I think that gives you the notification. It will let you know. So, you know, I was told I should do graphic design, but I'm not very good at it. CD Sower says, I think the Sudan grass video would get traffic if the title was like, how to increase soil fertility, blah, blah, blah. Many people might not know what it is. I'll probably do that next year when I know how it grows, because right now it's like, you're seeing an experiment. I don't know. Tessa says, this time I think I killed her. Oh, don't die. Don't die, darling. You have to live so you can plant rats in pots. You don't change the fluid, you just change the transmission. Yeah, it's about right. Jane said, I cut grass all day with a line buggy song in my head. Oh, that's fantastic. Steve says, I'm glad that the rap is back on the rainwater catch video. You know what's funny? They filed a copyright claim against it because I borrowed somebody's background music. Now, it was you can use this background music if you give us credit sort of a thing. So I think I gave them credit. I don't even remember. I hope I did. And then they said they were demonetizing the video. And I'm like, but that's like one of my top videos. So I took the music out. I blanked it out. And then like 6 months later, I was like, I don't even care if I make money off this video. It's no good without the rap at the end. So I turned it back on, and so far they haven't demonetized me again. It's kind of crazy. You were singing the hamster song, oh dear. And the biscuits, oh my gosh. It's terrible. I do have audiobooks. I have audiobooks of most of my books available on Amazon. Most of my good guides to gardening. Freedom Fighter says, I live in Central Florida, and someone told me I should bury logs for my soil and hold water. Have I ever done that? Yes, I have buried logs and sticks and bits of stump underneath beds. It does help. Especially if they're already partly rotten. But definitely. Zach says, my kids know your biscuits song after only knowing about your channel for like a month. That's awesome. Get up in the morning time, making biscuits. You know, I bet you the Mennonite girls would love the Lime Buggy song. Pears in her salsa. The dig song. I like to dig, diggity dig, diggy, 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 dig, 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 dig. Oh my gosh. Good, Sean. But you got to be careful, you know. You don't want to like. You got to say that. You got to be like. You can't be like, this guy's amazing. He's so amazing, and he wrote this book, so I got it for you. No. You got to be like, hey, babe. So this dude on YouTube totally took off after I joined his channel. He wrote this book. I kind of inspired it. Compost everything. I mean, he's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I was figuring, yeah, here's a copy. I mean, it's pretty much what I would do. He's not quite so eloquent. I'm going outside because I got a giraffe I'm going to bury underneath a pear tree. You know, that's the way you do it. Well, you can compost together premarital. You just can't let the compost get too hot. You're right, CD Sower. I know my titles. I should have somebody else title my videos. I should just have somebody else title all my videos. You don't want somebody to out alpha your girl, man. You'll be like, there's this guy, I really like him, and he's a great guy, he's amazing, and I just can't believe that I even am so lucky to own his book, and I just wanted you to own his book too. No. Dude, this book wouldn't be here without me. Sean, to the MC. Dude. He's like my protege. And it's like I could have like 1 million subscribers if I was running his channel, but dude, who wants to do that? Who wants to slave to the algorithm? You know what I mean? Yeah. Potted giraffes are good for growing beans. Yeah, the pole beans. How to grow stuff and not die. Self-sufficient me buried a dead kangaroo. That's amazing. Can I do a how-to video on corn? Probably one day. It's too late this season. That's it. I gave David the very fingers he used to compose this. I gave David his finger. That's getting weird. There would be no fingers if I had not given him his fingers. His fingers belong to me, as well as the inspiration behind them. Okay, you know. I tell my friends using my South Park goth kid voice, if you don't want to be a conformist like other gardeners, you really need to go check out D to the G on YouTube. That's funny. Yeah, you know what? I could just do clickbait titles all this next week and see what happens. I'll just do the most insane. Every time you do a clickbait title, I've noticed you get more views, but you die inside. And there's always people that know what you're doing and hate you for it. Like, Stefan Subkawiak's video titles. They're bad. They're so clickbaity. He's got great content, so it's like you're glad you watched, but like, I used to hate tent caterpillars. Then this happened. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I want to stab myself in the eye with a trowel. I'll watch it, I guess. That's good, Sean. Just don't be too strange. He used to hate cane toads until this. Yes. Fadista says, I especially like the micro inserts of retro ads or public service announcements in your videos. I enjoy those. They crack me up, but I didn't know how many people would like that. Didn't say clickbait, just new gardeners in mind. All right, CD Sour, you are grown up. Thank you. I could. I buried huevos rancheros in my garden, and this happened. I don't know who's titling his videos. Somebody's really editing them well. I'm sure it's not his. You won't believe how big this nematode was. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, you definitely got to get in good shape. It helps. Yeah, Rural Girl says, I've begun to unsubscribe from clickbait title channels. I can't stand it. It really does irritate me. Unless I do it ironically. Like, I've done a couple of them on purpose to be stupid. And then I'm like, my gosh, why are people watching it? Like, they were supposed to just go, that's stupid. But it didn't happen. Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the watermelon. Oh, yeah. I could sing the rabbit song. Let me find it. I need to make its own, into its own video. We have 163 viewers on here. You guys are amazing. I don't even know how this happened. That this many people want to show up and watch this ridiculous stuff. Where is it? Why can I not find it? It's got to be around here somewhere. Where are my lyrics? I can never find my own lyrics. I have it partway done. I mean, I have it partway remembered. Oh, there we go. Buried my rabbit neath the cherry tree. The search function is broken on my Mac, so it's really difficult. Scott says, I hate the thumbnails with people outlined in white. Hamster song, explicit. Eric says, is the party over? Well, I don't know. Are you leaving? I licked cane toads and this happened. There we go. That's a great idea. The Harvard professor should definitely come back to share more wisdom. Okay, I'm going to sing it. I'm going to sing it. I will sing it for you and your children and your husband. I buried my rabbit neath the cherry tree one fine afternoon. Someday I know that we'll meet again on a fruit salad spoon. Laid my hamster to rest last night beneath the pumpkin vine. Someday I know that we'll meet again in a Thanksgiving pie. If it dies when it's at my house, it'll end up in the soil. My trees are all fed by pets, shuffling off this mortal coil. Put my puppy neath the garden bed one early winter morn. Someday I know that we'll meet again in a lovely row of corn. If it dies when it's at my house, it'll end up in the soil. My trees are all fed by pets, shuffling off this mortal coil. Laid the taxman to rest last night beneath the money tree. I know that we'll never meet again, 'cause he won't be in heaven with me. If it dies when it's at my house,
it'll end up in the soil. My trees are all fed by pets, shuffling off this mortal coil. Buried my rabbit neath the cherry tree one fine afternoon. Someday I know that we'll meet again on a fruit salad spoon. It's kind of emotional, isn't it? Well, guys, have a very... Jesus says I was singing along. Hubby said I watched too much. Oh my gosh. Eric says that's my doorbell ringtone. Welcome to Walmart. I love you. Hey, Roy. Nice to see you. We're just wrapping up. Well, I'm just coming to admire your Good Books logo, plaque, and silver button. They're better looking than my face. Oh, man. Anyhow, guys. Anand says, did you ever regret not buying a book after seeing how much it went up drastically in price? I've regretted buying, multiple things before they went up in price. I wish that I had invested... I wish I had gone long on ammo a decade ago. Or lumber a year ago. But thank you all. Have a very, very nice rest of the weekend. Fill in those gaps. Thank you to all of our members who support this channel. It's much appreciated. Thank you to those of you who gave me tips this evening. And for those of you that didn't give me tips, thanks for showing up and hanging out anyhow. I don't hold it against you. You're beautiful people. You're all good gardeners. So, have a... what type of ammo am I looking for? Right now, 357 Magnum. For no reason at all. No particular reason. I just like the way it looks. Anyhow, that 50 EMG. Yes! I'm looking for 20 millimeter. Have a good night. God bless. I'll catch you all soon. And until next time, may your thumbs always be green.